Yo, what is up everybody? It's Peace. Welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be taking you through my Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk branded deck. So this is the new improved version. I was bricking with the old version and the old combo is garbage. You guys have been blowing up the comment section on that last video, saying that there's better combos and stuff. I took this version to tournament a few times. The best I got was X1 after 5 rounds for second place. So I'll show you the list and I'll show you the combo. Essentially, I added 4 cards in the main deck and I switched the side deck and extra deck up a lot. So the bird package is 3 Warbler, 1 Sparrow, and 1 Swallow. So I thought about playing 2 of this, and sometimes it does come up, but the birds are obviously a bridge that gets you to Nerval, which is your Tri-Brigade engine. So it is important to see these, which is why you play the 3 bird call, because you definitely want to see it. But essentially, the combo starts with any way to get to Warbler and access to Sparrow, which is a variety of different things, including Tanky, Fractal, Foolish Burial, Bird Call, just any combination of Warbler and Sparrow, and you're good to go. So I'll show that at the end. Next up, the Tri-Brigade monsters. So we did up the count for this because we do not want to draw our bricks. You play 5, essentially, bricks in this version for the new branded package. You play Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. You play your Fallen of Albaz. You play the branded Fusion spell card. You play the branded Sword Trap card. And then you play the Mercurier, which is the bridge to get to more advantage. And that's part of the combo as well. So you don't want to see those as much. So we increased kit to 3. So 3 Fractal, 3 kit, 3 Nerval, and 3 Karis. As long as you can open up 2 names, you are absolutely good to go. Because all of these inherently do something. Because you play Almirage, essentially. So it's really nice. And a lot of times if you open 2 names, it is the subpar combo, not the full combo, where you end on a spicy Xyz monster that you'll see in the extra deck, but it's good enough. And then our honorary Tri-Brigade card, Tri-Brigade Mercurier. This is more of a brick, but it's sometimes nice when you open it if you can get it to the graveyard, but most of the time you're dumping it off of kit as part of the combo. So yeah, enough of that. So hand traps and crossout designator targets. So I wanted to fit a lot of different names. These are not really played this format, Nibiru the Primal Being, because Despia doesn't really care about it apparently, but it's still really good against Rogue, and it's still really good against other bad players that are main decking it, and you draw the crossout and you can negate the Nibiru and you get to keep your field. Because we are not going for Apollosa in this build. Spoilers. The 1 Lancia, this is just a crossout designator target. I don't feel like Lancia is as good as it is in last format as it is right now. And by format, I mean just the branded deck being released. Next up, 2 Ash only. Just a crossout target and just a generic hand trap. And then the 1 searchable DD Crow. A lot of times you're going to be searching this in your combo. And it's a pretty good disruption. I might even bump this up further later. Next up, for other monsters, the last ones, we have the Fallen of Albaz that I mentioned and the Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. I'll explain how those work later on. Next up, spell cards. 3 Bird Call. I was playing 2 before because I was playing a bigger bird package. But now the bird package is really small and concise, and it's more emphasized on having Warbler Sparrow. So 3 is good. Tanky for searching your Fractal. That's the only search target for this card. 1 for 1 to also get into your bird combos. It can change brick hands into really good hands. It's basically gas. Foolish Burial for more consistency. Then we have some other one-ofs, like our Called by the Grave for negating hand traps, and 2 crossout designators, so you got 3 in 46 chances to draw a way to stop your opponent's hand traps. This is a hand trap heavy format, so you're going to want to include some way to try to play through that. Speaking of ways to play through hand traps, Whether you can play or you can't play, once your opponent activates a monster effect, you can go ahead and talents them, take a look at their hand and make it so that they can't play, or just draw 2 cards and dig for a Karis. Most of the time you're trying to rip a card from your opponent's hand, or if you're going second into a board, stealing a monster is sometimes correct as well. And then in line with that, another going second card, Forbidden Chalice. This would be droplets, but I don't own droplets. But it's still really good for that quick play targeting negation, because not all of the disruptions are immediately on your opponent's board. You have to wait for them to appear. Like if you're playing the Mirror, which I actually played a lot of, I was surprised. The opponent will have their Omen on field summoned with Revolt, and then you can just Chalice it. Or something being summoned off of Branded in Red, the Chimera, you Chalice it. There's many cards that appear in the middle of your combo that are affected by this. So I think it's really good, this format, just like Droplet is. And just like Droplet, it's also essentially a trap card. So quick play spells are one of the best type of cards in the game in forms of reactionary. Mystic Mine. So this card is not really to stall your opponent. Of course, you can go that route because some people aren't playing outs to this. There's not a lot of spell and trap negation on some of the end boards I've seen, especially this deck. But the reason that I put this in is because I have an issue with Mystic Mine. I actually lost in tournament to a Mystic Mine before I added this in, that previous version that I showed in the other video the other day. So this is actually a cross-out designator target, which really helps. So you can turn off Mine, you have a main deck out to Mine, and you don't have to play backer removal. Final spell is the Branded Fusion. In this deck, you do not want to draw it, so I am usually putting it back because I do not play an extra deck that gives me a way to summon Mirror Jade on turn 0 if I'm just activating Branded Fusion. I can summon a Brigand, but that's not doing much. Next up, Impermanence acts as a pseudo Chalice on your turn if you draw it as the 6th card, but it's essentially a cross-out designator target. Sometimes if you need a Tri-Brigade effect to go through, being able to negate that really helps. The Branded Sword, I'll explain what it does in the combo. You're never using its on-field effect, you're just using its graveyard effect. And then the 1 Tri-Brigade Revolt. Now that you're playing a heavier Tri package, you might want to even play another target for Bearbrum or a second Revolt for that matter. But we'll get to the combo and I'll show you what's going on. So next, extra deck, Nibiru token. So we play the Brigand and the Mirror Jade now only. So the Mirror Jade comes off of the Branded Fusion that you send off of your Verte, and then you do have the 1 Banish, and at the end of the turn, this gives you follow-up. Either special summoning a Tri-Brigade to the field. I usually special summon Nerval to the field, or if I have Warbler in hand, I will just search like Fractal or something. Next up, we increased the Xyz monster. So we do have the 1 of Recital Starling, unfortunately, at 1 on the Forbidden Unlimited list. Sylvan Princess Sprite, F-Zero Utopic Future, and the Draco Future. So this is the spicy XYZ monster tech that I was talking about. Cobalt Sparrow plus Warbler equals this, plus you get to normal summon, do full Tri-Brigade combo. So it's like actually insane. Notice that there's no room for Zeus in the main deck, unfortunately. It's very tight, and I could not think of anything to cut for like Apollosa Zeus. But it doesn't... The thing is, even going second when you lose the die roll, in tournament, I would go Sylvan Princess Sprite, and then Battle Phase Attack. They don't even want Zeus to hit the field. So they outed my Sylvan Princess Sprite. I wasn't playing Zeus, so it didn't actually... It did its job. Just the fear of Zeus is enough for game 1 if you're going second, because your opponent will set up disruptions, and they do fear the Zeus. So no Zeus in the main. Next up, Almirage. Do not ever cut this card. Do not side this out. It is absolutely necessary if you want to play. There are just some hands that you only draw 1 Tri-Brigade, and you absolutely need it in order to play the game. But otherwise, yeah, you'd be screwed without this card. Also, it gives you another attribute in Graveyard. You can banish this as a fire for Access Code Talker, or you can banish Bearbrum as the fire, but having an extra material is nice. And then also, This does protect against disruption. Sometimes it does end up staying on the field, and you can actually banish it to protect yourself from disruption. Next up is the Link 2s. You got your Verte for the end of the combo. Double Dragon Lords comes up sometimes. You can tack it on at the end of your combo if you did not draw hand traps by discarding 2 for Bear Broom and special summoning a Tri-Brigade. But you would need to send this off with its own effect in order to have enough space to activate your Tri-Brigade Revolt. So I don't go for this very often, but it's almost completely necessary to have in the extra deck. If I did like absolutely need to put Zeus in the main deck, I would probably cut this. For Jet, Baron Blossom, Bear Broom, Doom Eagle, this just helps you climb into Access Code Talker, and it can shuffle back a DPE. I've done that before, which is nice. And then the 2 Omen, which is mandatory. We do go through a lot of the extra deck with our combo, so you will be seeing that shortly. Really quick though, I know you guys are interested in the side deck. Super Poly is a very good card. So Starving Venom is pretty useful for eating up boards. A lot of the Despia decks will end on Albion, or Aluber rather, with the Mirror Jade, and then a set branded in red. So what you essentially do is you super poly them for both their dark monsters, so they lose their Mirror Jade disruption, and they also end up, you do get your monsters blown up at the end phase, but you're killing them anyway. And then they also do not get their Guardian Chimera unless they can somehow magically get another monster on board, which is really nice. And this also hits like Phantom Knight and Dragon Link and other rogue decks that are running around as well. Assemble Nightingale and then Zeus. This is really good going second. If you know you're going second, especially against a dark-based deck, you actually side out the Verte and the 2 fusions for these 3, and then you side out the 5 branded cards. So the branded fusion, the branded sword, the Albion, the Albaz, and the Mercurier. You just side all those 5 out, and then you put in your 2 Drolls and your 3 Super Polys, or depending on the matchup, you throw in your Cosmic Cyclones. But yeah, games 2 and 3. Your opponent's probably going to be putting in their DD Crows, so this is a cross-out designator target, and it also just really stops turns really efficiently. So those are all the monsters in the side deck. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and then the 3 quick play Cosmic Cyclone. I feel like Twin Twisters doesn't do enough, and then you kind of really need your hand advantage in this deck especially. It's kind of like Virtual World in that sense, where you can't really afford to discard too many cards because everything is kind of filtering your deck. You add to your hand, and then you put one back at the bottom. And there's several effects like that in this deck. So you kind of need that. Plus, this is better against Eldritch, Scythe, and stuff like that. But the 1,000 life points doesn't really come up. And then this is just to blow out like Eldritch, essentially. Next up is the 3 Super Polymerization. This is cute as well. Depending on your opponent's deck, you may not want to put in the Assembled Nightingale and keep one of the, like the Mirror Jade in deck, and then keep an Albaz in. Because Albaz is generic. Like, you can just normal summon it, waste your normal summon, and then fuse off by discarding. But you can also super poly with it on the field. Or if your opponent's also playing Fallen of Albaz, sometimes it'll appear on the field. So that's kind of useful. I was in between Dimensional Barrier and Anti-Spell, but I feel like Anti-Spell covers more bases. Unfortunately, it is a continuous trap. So if your opponent has the back row removal, the quick play back row removal in the form of a spell, then it's outed. Whereas Dimensional Barrier can't be outed that way. It's just a lingering effect, a lingering floodgate, if you will. But I feel like this not only hits the branded deck, but it also hits other decks. Like if you were to face like a rogue deck like Pendulum, for example, this would completely shut them off. Just as good, if not better, than the Dimensional Barrier. So I ended up on this. Also, in addition to that, the end board has no spell and trap negation. So you're very susceptible to like Lightning Storm, Raigeki, and stuff like that, which this will protect you from. So like if I had to play this or Dimensional Barrier, I ended up on this. I mean, Judgment would also be good, but that can only stop one. This stops all of your opponent's spells, and your opponent uses usually putting in board-breaking spells. You don't really have anything against an Evenly, which really sucks because Evenly outs essentially all of your disruptions except whatever hand traps you have left in your hand, which is why I don't think this deck will ever be the best, but it's insanely fun, which is why I'm giving you guys this list. And then finally, Red Reboot for trap decks. All right, I spoke enough. That's like 10 minutes, I think. So let me show you the combo with Warbler and then Sparrow, and then essentially any 3 cards. Let's just do 3 generic hand traps, or well, 2 and then a bird call. You don't even need to use the bird call. All right, so getting started, we're going to activate our Warbler, special summoning it by its inherent summon, essentially. I know Konami hates inherent summon, but we're going to activate its effect on field to special summon our Sparrow from either grave or hand. Then this effect triggers. So since you haven't used your normal summon, if your next play gets disrupted, you want to guarantee that you have some sort of play. So you will be searching a normal summon. So you do search Tri-Brigade Nerval first. Then for the next play, you're going to overlay these 2 into Recital Starling. You want to play around Ogre, so there's not really ever a reason to activate its first effect on summon to increase attack. So you're just going to place it on the field with its 0 attack, and then detach to search the other bird, the Sapphire Swallow. Now, you activate the Sapphire Swallow in hand to special summon the Nerval and itself from your hand. Next up, you overlay 4 Sylvan Princess Sprite. This is the replacement for the second copy of Recital Starling. Now, it's important to detach the Sparrow for this, or the Sapphire Swallow, essentially, because this is cost for this effect. So if you detach Nerval, just like if you tribute Ben 10 for a Drytron monster's effect, it can be DD Crowed and it misses its activation requirement because it's no longer in the grave on the resolution of the chain. So because it's cost, you keep it underneath the Sylvan Princess Sprite. So you detach that, you mill 1. It doesn't matter if it's a monster, say you mill a Turquoise Warbler, but if it is a spell or trap, which is why we play a lot of spells and traps, you add it to your hand. So this could be Foolish Burial, Called by the Grave, Crossout Designator, Triple Tactics Talents, Infinite Impermanence, Mystic Mind, Forbidden Chalice. There's so many cards that you can add off of this. So most of the time at this point in the combo, you will have 4 cards in hand, but for the sake of this, we'll only have just these 3. So the next step, you're going to overlay both of these. These materials fall off to the graveyard for number F0 Utopic Future. So on the resolution of the summon, Nerval does not have an opportunity to be DD Crowed. It will activate as Chainlink 1 on the resolution since you are turn player and you don't have any other effects to activate. So this will always search you your Tri-Brigade kit, which is useful. And since you haven't used your normal summon yet, this is amazing because you get to play around the people that are playing Nibiru. So if they only open Nibiru and you open full combo, which you most likely will do, you are safe. So I like to summon the future all the way over to the left. So you're going to put that over there and slap on top your Draco Future, which can protect you from 1 monster hand trap. I mean, if they have Imperm Nib, then they have Imperm Nib. Whatever. Next up, you will be normal summoning your Tri-Brigade kit. Now, at this point, even if you did not mill a monster, you will still have 4 monsters in grave. I like to keep Cobalt Sparrow in the grave if I can, because I do play the 3 Warbler, and you can always search a DD Crow later in the combo, stuff like that. So you just banish 4, you summon Omen. People are not playing Phantasme, so I wouldn't even bother activating Omen's effect on turn 0, even if you suspect the Phantasme, and if you have the Tenki on board to banish if they don't summon it. So that was the previous format. So I don't even know if you guys know that that's something that you can do. But anyway, don't activate its effect. All right, so then you're going to link 2 here for Farrajet. Now, this is very important that you link 2 for Farrajet because during your opponent's turn, you're only going to have 3 slots open. And to summon Omen, you will need a link 2 that was properly summoned. So since you properly summoned this, you get to chain block it again and dig deeper for a hand trap if you were unable to fix your hand during the combo. So we also want to ensure that we are adding the next Tri-Brigade card to our hand. So on summon, Chainlink 1 will be Omen to chain block your itself, and then Kit will be Chainlink 2. So Kit will always dump the Mercourier. And then Omen will usually search the Fractal. At this point, you usually have not activated it. And in this combo, we do not really use Karis, which is really good. Because since you're not using an extender that you play 3 of in your deck, if you do draw it and you do get interrupted, there is a way to play through that disruption. So I really like combos that don't utilize every single card in the deck, because it makes it such that certain hands will allow you to play through disruptions, whereas you wouldn't be able to if you were using where everything needs to go perfect. This is not a strategy where everything needs to go perfect. It just loses to back row. So it's got its own problem. Anyway, you're going to activate Farigit to special summon your Fractal since you already used your normal summon. So now it's on field. Its on-field effect can come up. You can send it away later on if you'd like. But most of the time, depending on how many monsters you end up on board, based on the disruptions that you're playing through from your opponent, you'll be linking these two for Verte. But we're almost there. So, Called by the Grave is a very powerful card, and I got Called by the Grave on my Omen. But fortunately for me, my Omen was not in my graveyard, because I banished it off of the effect to special summon from my extra deck. I think that's important. Don't get greedy with your access code talker. You'll already have a dark for access code talker on the crackback from your Verte unless your combo gets completely stopped. So you are going to want to banish your Omen and your Mercourier. I used to banish Kit and Mercourier, but I think it is correct to banish Omen because that one of Called by the Grave exists. It's better to play around something than to lose to the off chance that your opponent has the one of. You should play the best of your ability and assume that your opponent has the outs. So, so instead of banishing the Kit, you banish the Mercourier and the Omen in the graveyard. This will special summon off of the Tri-Brigade Fractals effect, the Tri-Brigade Bearbrum, the Rampant Ramburger. I can't talk today. All right. On resolution, you will go ahead and activate Mercourier's effect to search from your deck the Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. At this point, you can go ahead and activate its effect, paying cost, which sends the Branded Sword to your graveyard. That's cost. The effect is to put it on the bottom of your deck. Since it was from the hand that you activated that, you get to draw a free card. So you just draw any garbage card that you do not need. That's something that I don't need. I don't need a second Ash. Cool beans. Next up, you can go ahead and link summon these two monsters. For your Predaplant Verte Anaconda, you can trigger your Farigit effect to draw a card and then put one back. We drew a Warbler. We don't really want that, so we'll just put it back on the bottom of the deck. You can also banish your Branded Sword to add back your Mercourier from your banish zone. So, when a fusion monster is on the field that lists Fallen of Albaz as material, you get to actually send this from field or hand to graveyard in order to negate a monster effect. So that's pretty nice. It doesn't destroy, but having the ability to negate a monster effect when you control a fusion is nice, and it's essentially completely free. Remember how we started with 5 cards in our hand? We still have 1, 2, 3 on board and 5 cards in our hand still from this combo. And we've got to filter once already. We will get to filter again. So watch this. You're going to go ahead and activate Predaplant Verte Anaconda. If you want, you can also discard 2 cards that you do not need. Like, you know this Ash and this Bird Call will not come up. You can actually discard them to summon back the Nerval, since we didn't actually use the Nerval's effect on field. We just used its graveyard effect. You can banish 2 to special summon the Double Dragon Lords here. So this is where you would probably keep the Bearbrum on, or the Blossom on field, and link the Blossom and the Nerval to make the Verte, and then just use Fractal's effect to keep it off field so that you don't need to send 2 monsters. But that is an option that I want you guys to be aware of, and that has come up before. So, but for this combo, we're just going to keep it a little bit simple. So Verte, you pay your 2,000 life points, and then time is called. Just kidding. So you send your branded fusion to the graveyard. This allows you to fuse from deck, hand, or field. So you're going to fuse your Fallen of Albaz with your extra deck monster, Bear Broom. So this gets around the issue of not being able to summon, to use Bear Broom's effect and then also summon a fusion that you would desire. Because Predaplant Verte Anaconda says you cannot special summon after you summon or you use this effect, and Bear Broom states after you use this effect, you can't summon anything from extra deck except Tri-Brigade cards. So this gets around that. You get to trigger Bear Broom's effect, search your Revolt, and then put a card that you're not going to use on the bottom of your deck. So most likely we're not going to use Bird Call. We've already got so much follow-up from Mirror Jade and Revolt that we should be set. So from that from the 5 cards that we started with, the 2-card combo, essentially we got to filter our hand. We ended on whatever hand traps we have. So 1 guaranteed disruption, 2 guaranteed disruptions in the form of Omen, and this is follow-up. 3 disruptions from Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon, which sends a card that gets you follow-up, Brigand the Glory Dragon. And then the final disruption, Utopic Draco Future. So that's the deck. It's pretty consistent. Hopefully this clears up some things. I don't play the Apollosa. Some people were saying that you can summon the Apollosa, but that's that combo. It's pretty late, and I really want to play the Draco Future, which is bad. But whatever. This game is about having fun and making wacky decks work to the best of their ability. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this update. I know it's a little late, but, you know, stuff happens. And, yeah, but the video's out now, so enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.